Greetings, Wayman29. I have not been making as many videos lately. It seems like I could respond to like almost every one of your videos, but due to time constraints, I decided to just respond to this one, which is an introduction to a series that you're starting called Who is the Apostle Paul? In the beginning, you're talking about the difference of the message of Christ versus the message of Paul. There was one thing I disagreed with, in that you were comparing the two and saying that, well, the message of Christ was very simple, well, the message of Paul was very complex. And maybe you could get into that or elaborate on that. I happen to think that the message of Paul is completely in line with the message of Christ. It's from the same religion, Judaism. As we know, Jesus was Jewish, and they're all built upon Torah principles. So I think it was a little bit flippant to just say, oh, well, the message of Christ was simple and Paul is complex. Maybe you were referencing certain theological viewpoints that others might, espouse to Paul, which maybe many of us disagree with. The next thing that you covered was that you were saying that Paul's teachings they can be used to build people up or tear people down. And isn't that just true with everything, though? I mean, couldn't you say that about anything? So I think that maybe that is not such a good point to bring up. Moving on, something about people feeling all warm and good and warm and cozy regarding their theologies. It was kind of a vague reference, but I thought I'd mention it. 1 Thessalonians is the first letter, whatever, I don't know what that is. That sounds like form criticism or something. How did Paul come to learn what he learned? Other Christian groups prior to Paul. So you do make reference of other Christianities, and that Paul's version is apparently a later version. Well, it seems that maybe I'm misunderstanding you when you say this, but it's just that's what it sounded like. And you say Paul was not the beginner of Christianity. I would agree with that. However, I may differ in that agreement of the term Christianity. Paul put his slant on this combined with Judaism. In other words, it sounds as if you are speculating that Jewish forms of Christianities were second to Gnostic forms. And that would be incorrect, if that's what you're implying. That is, if you're thinking that Gnosticism predates Paul's form of theologies. No, the Jewish forms would be the first forms, and then the Gnostic forms came later. You're saying that this was repackaged for Gentile God-fearers. Well, I would have to disagree with that. First of all, because of the term Christianity being repackaged, as I'm looking at it from a Jewish perspective, in that the whole point of the Gospels, the whole point of the letters, is that Jesus was rejected by a majority of Jewish leaders as their Messiah. However, he was accepted by thousands of Jews in that period, in his day. And so I don't see how this is being repackaged for Gentiles in that way. As Judaism's main thrust has always been to be a light to the nations and to the Gentile God-fearers. You stated that you don't have any theological belief system hanging over your head. You may disagree with this, but I think you do. I think that your theologies are that of form criticism and literary criticism, and you make assumptions about the Apostle Paul and that he was repackaging so-called Christianity. And I guess, as always, as you say, if everyone's thinking alike, then someone isn't thinking. So I am definitely not thinking like the majority of most scholars, but I am thinking. All right, look forward to more discussion, and peace be with you.